Hello.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. While we are waiting for the others to join, because we have, quite a lot of participants today, which is making us really happy. I will just give you a bit of a hint how we're going to do the session today. So first, we're going to have the presentation, and then at the end of it, we're going to have a open Q&A session. And in order for this to work in a best possible way, I'm going to ask you to write your questions in the chat here so we can read them at the end. You should have the chat option in the up field. If you can see it and if you just can give us a sign that you can see it and you can write something there, it's going to be amazing. Another thing that we're going to do is record this session, but none of you is going to be visible in these recordings. It's only so we have our marketing purposes. So we're going to record it, and afterwards we can send it to this one of you that couldn't manage to come. So there is going to be a recording. You're not going to be in it. You can ask your questions in the chat, and at the end of the session, we are going to read and answer them, the ones that were not already answered during the presentation. My name is Simona, and this is my colleague Elica. We're going to show you to give you some hints on how to start your medical career in Germany.
Maybe because I'm not sure if you all can see the chat option. Maybe if some of you can just give us a thumb up or a short message in the chat, because I'm not sure that this works.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. It was important for us to know that you see it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I think we are ready to officially start. Welcome, everyone. We are really, really happy to see you here today. And if you're watching this masterclass, you are probably thinking about one of the biggest decisions in your life, starting medical career in Germany. Honestly said, most international doctors completely underestimate how complex but also possible and manageable this journey really is. So that's why we are here. We are here today to give you this information that Germany is not like many other countries. There is no national residency entrance exam. There is no centralized matching system. There is no waiting list for residency. It's a free job market, but at the same time, the procedure includes the 16 different federal states that Germany has. It's a complex bureaucracy procedures. All of them have different processes. They have different language requirements, different visa pathways, and completely different expectations inside of the hospitals you're going to meet. So this is exactly why so many doctors feel confused, and we can see it. So we are meeting you every day. Online, really often you're meeting this different advices, information that is outdated, or it's given in a way that it's actually not answering your needs. So this misinformation from friends and people that actually don't understand what exactly your personal situation is. And we know these challenges. We know how to work with them. And today we want to change that. This masterclass is designed to give you a realistic overview, to give you strategic understanding, to give you insider knowledge, to give you practical guidelines, and a clear roadmap. So building a successful medical career in Germany is not just about the probation. It is about making smart decisions at every stage of this journey. So I think we can start with the masterclass.
Yes. And before we start, I would like to introduce ourselves in a bit more detail. My name is Elica Seidel. I'm the founder of Inmed Personal. And this is my colleague Simona. She's a medical career advisor at Inmed Personnel. And our company is specialized in supporting international doctors on their journey to Germany. Over the last 7 years, we have helped hundreds of international doctors with general and medical German preparation, with the recognition and visa process, with hospital applications, interviews, hospitations in German clinics, and also with the relocation and integration into Germany. And because we work with doctors every single day, with international doctors, we see very clearly what works, what delays candidates, what hospitals really expect from them, like Simona already said, different expectations everywhere, and also which mistakes international doctors should absolutely avoid. And this is exactly why we created this masterclass, to talk about these things with you. And our goal is, like Simona already said, to give you a realistic and practical roadmap for Germany, and not just theoretical information, but really the whole process step by step. At the end, we will also briefly explain how our preparation program and our scholarship program work. These are designed especially for international doctors starting their careers in Germany. We'll talk about this in detail later, but first let's start with the most important part, understanding the requirements and the process correctly.
Yes, I'm going to handle this here because before entering the detailed process, it is important to understand the general requirements. As we love to say, the pathway looks quite similar for each one of you. You need the things that you see here, but it actually could look really different for each situation. So most cases, international doctors need sufficient German language skills, recognition of their medical qualification, realistic job strategy, secure residence status if they are not EU citizen, and practical preparation for the relocation and everyday life in Germany. When we start with the language, this is one of the most important requirements. B2 General German is usually the minimum level to start the recognition pathway. But for everyday hospital communication, this is absolutely not enough. Having the bare minimum of the B2 certificate, we guarantee you that it's not enough for what is expecting you. You're going to be doctors, and doctors are normally expected to reach medical C1 level and to pass the medical German language exam, which is in C1 level, because they must be able to take history, to explain diagnosis and treatments, to document correctly, to communicate safely with patients and with colleagues. You're, as we often joke, you're not going to sell apples and potatoes in Germany. You're going to work with human lives, and understanding and being able to position yourself with the authority and with the knowledge that you have is going through the really good foundation and high level of language, general German language. In addition, a doctor needs a professional recognition in order to work long-term in Germany. And the main goal is the Approbation, which is the full medical license that you have to have in order to be able to work as a doctor in Germany. The exact procedure really depends on the federal states. As I mentioned, 16 different federal states, different requirements, because each state authority really have different timelines. It has different administrative practices. Many cases, doctors can only enter the job market successfully once their approbation strategy is clear and their documents are properly prepared and ready in order to even apply for the clinics to open your profile. They want to know that you have this license already. Beyond language and approbation, practical relocation matters are also essentials. Doctors need realistic job strategy because not every clinic, not every specialty or region is equally accessible for beginner international doctors. I know it's hard to hear it, but you need to be realistic. You are beginners. Even if you have some experience, if it's outside German health system, you are beginner international doctors. So be realistic and the things will go better for you. We see how it works. You also need housing or at least temporary accommodation solution, enough financial reserves for your transition period. We're not talking about before this, but after, especially if you are not EU citizens. This is the correct visa is really crucial here. Residence permit, work authorization of the specific, there are really specific solutions there that you need to be wise and choose smart. After arriving in Germany, several administrative steps are usually necessary here. Registering, we're going to explain this further on the next slides, just to give you a hint. But some are registering that you need to do the address, arriving, arranging health insurance, receiving tax identification number, opening a bank account, and in many cases you need to clarify pension and social insurance matters. Germany is a bureaucratic country.
Yes.
This is something that is there and you need to handle it. It's just what it is. So last but not least, depending on the employment situation, professional liability insurance and other additional coverage may also be relevant. So these points are really often underestimated by you. But they are part of the stable and legally secured start in Germany. And don't think it's something that you can that you can, let's say, put aside for a long term.
Or manage too late, because sometimes it has to be managed on time before you start work in order to be able to start work legally.
Yes. So as you can see, there are a lot of things you need to take care of. Fortunately, there are specialists like us that are helping in each area, who can bring some light into this darkness, who can give you some directions, and this way you can focus on the important things on each step. So it is completely normal to feel confused or anxious about these steps, not knowing what they are, how to handle them. But it is really, really important decision in your life, and you need to handle it as any other important decision that is going to come or was in your life. So there is this process, you need to manage it. There is this order you need to know and to decide, and with them you can handle the things. This can bring clarity, and this can bring this challenging process to be a stressless pathway.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to talk in detail about each of the points that Simona just mentioned, but before we go into detail, I would like to show you an overview that you can see here in the presentation of the roadmap that, on our opinion, is very practical for most international doctors. This order is very practical to go exactly this way in order to save time and money and do things right. So now let's go step by step. The first step is to build the language foundation properly. This is what Simona already said. Language is maybe the most important part in this journey. So build the language foundation properly. The second step would be to choose your approbation strategy wisely. Before you even think of applying for the approbation, there are some important decisions that you have to make about this. Your third step would be to pass the B2 exam, which is the first language requirement, B2, at least the B2 certificate in general German. Then it's smarter to apply for the approbation after you have passed the B2 exam. Step 5, if you're not an EU citizen, is to choose the visa pathway. This is not that easy at all because there are different types of visas. And you need a visa pathway that fits your final situation, your personal timeline. The sixth step would be to pass the medical German exam, the FSP. The seventh step would be to enter the job market strategically, what Simona said, with a clinic-ready profile, realistic expectations, and to know how to look for the right job for you. The eighth step would be to present yourself properly with your documents, with your application, and at the interviews and hospitations at the clinic. The ninth step would be to find accommodation, and then you do all the registration needed. So like I said, this is, in our opinion, a very good order. Of course, every path is very individual, and it might be smarter to do things differently in the individual situation, but this is something that we really have proved with a lot of candidates that works very good. And before we continue, I have to say that our agency specializes in supporting doctors with EU medical degrees, so with medical degrees from countries and university in the European Union. That's why the process that we explain here is more concentrated on this, but it's also pretty similar. So a lot of these points, actually most of these points, are also applicable to non-EU graduates. So you can stay and listen to it. You just have additional steps that you have to do in order to receive the approbation in Germany. So now, Simona, let's go deeper into step 1.
Yes, step 1, again, starting with the language foundation. Again, just before we even talk about approbation, visas or clinics, we really need to start with the real foundation, which is the language. We observe that most of the times your understanding of language foundation is not realistic. So let's make it clear. I understand German is not the language foundation that we're looking for here. We look for I can communicate surely under pressure. German, because German is not just your pathway to Germany is not going to be built only on the exams that you're going to have. There is going to be a fast clinical environment, and if your foundation is weak, everything else is going to become slower, harder, and riskier. Even if you do all of the work and somehow you manage to go through all of these steps that we mentioned, and you're already in Germany, if you're working and your language knowledge is not in a good level, you still risk your work there. So it's really, really important. Before even think about exam mode, you need to reach stable B1, B2 level. Look at this battle, see how you're going to handle it. Stable means you can speak, you can understand normal speed, speaking German language, and you don't freeze when something is unexpected. This is what you're looking for even before you start thinking of exams.
Yes,
And this is Yes, this is really, really common mistake that many people make, that trying to jump into the bureaucracy first. You look for the checklists, for the documents, for the federal states, and you postpone the language too much. When every of what I mentioned, everything that I mentioned doesn't matter if you don't have the stable foundation of the language. Afterwards, you realize that the truth is that language takes time. It's not like medical studies. It's one of the biggest bottlenecks that you can meet on this during this process. But it's really the foundation. Everything that follows, you need this language for negotiating an apartment, for representing yourself in front of the chief of departments, in front of your colleagues during the job interviews. If you go to job interview, you need it for the exams. It's just really important to understand how this actually works and what the stable foundation means here. So consistent speaking practice is one of the things that you need to do first. Not only grammar, don't don't go there. Grammar is really important, but don't forget the speaking. You don't know how often I meet people that are ready with their B1, even B2, and they're afraid to speak German, which is not what we understand as a stable. This is not what is going to work for you. Second, you need routine and structure. You should know exactly what you work on each week, even if there are weeks that you have another things, university or whatever, it's a job or whatever it's in your head. Just try to reach the bare minimum of your program and stick to this program. This is really important with the language. And third, of course, find feedback, because without feedback, people repeat the same mistakes for months and you don't go out of it. We know that out there are amazing self-learning tools. Make sure to choose one that can give you realistic feedback, honest feedback. So again, this is exactly why we never treat language at this step here just as a certificate. In our experience, B2 on paper can still be too weak. If you are with 60% B2 TELC, you're thinking, okay, I have this behind me, but then you need the level. It's not only the paper. So you need it for the medical German language exam, for the interviews, and for your day-to-day work. It's really, really important to understand what a stable foundation as a doctor in Germany means. This is not the profession that you can think of. I am going to pass somehow B2 now, and then I'm going to learn it while I'm working. This doesn't work in your case. So really important language foundation. Now, step step 2.
It's the right one.
Yes, it's the right one. I just didn't saw it. So step 2, choose the approbation strategy wisely. Elisa mentioned it. I mentioned it. It's where the most international doctors lose time and money, I would say. Not because the process is impossible to work with, but because they choose the strategy badly, or they don't have strategy here at all. Here are some key practical principles that you must understand. The approbation is valid in all of Germany. So once you have it, you can work anywhere in Germany. But the process of getting the approbation is regional. This means you apply through one federal state authority, and that choice actually affects your timeline because requirements, processing speed, and exam logistics differ in the different states. So that's why we're saying how important it is to choose the right federal state. And the big question should not be where do I want to live or to work afterwards when you think about choosing the right strategy for your approbation, or the question should not be where it's going to be easy for me because they don't need some kind of document because I don't have it at that moment. But it's most important to ask questions that are going to give you a view to the big picture. Questions like, where can I realistically get my approbation for my situation? Having in mind all of the documents and requirements they have. Because focusing if your B2 exam from 5 years ago if it's going to work or not, but meantime you have bunch more documents that you have to work, what you're going to invest your time instead of having your B2 again, which is going to happen maybe faster than even gathering these documents. So here it's really important to be able to see the big picture. And in order to be able to see this, what you need to be aware of: your location and your reality. As you already know, in Germany, because you are already in Germany or abroad, you know that you need the proof of residency, or you don't need it. Some pathways become easier or even possible only with certain proof. What kind of proof they need in this state? Can it work for me? Can I have it? Then again, note, this is not it's not required to live in Germany in order to apply and to receive approbation. You only need to have an address to receive the approbation itself, the lesson, the paper itself, after it is issued. So you can use address of your friend, or for example, all of our clients are using our company address. So it's important to understand what are the requirements in that matter and to understand if they are valid for you. Because if you hear that you need address registration, this doesn't mean that you need to live there. It means that you can just use an address of a friend or somebody that is there and that can accept the issued document. Your timeline is another thing that you need to think of. How fast do you need to move? Some states are simply faster than others, and unfortunately this changes. So if it works now faster, maybe in a few months it will not, but yeah. The exam schedules can be a major problem. In some federal states, you can wait for confirmation letter, only for the confirmation letter, up to 1 month after providing all of the documents and everything. Only after that you can then register for the medical German language exam, and in some federal states you may wait for 5-6 months for this exam. So it can work for some of you if your timeline, if you still have to do something about it, but if you don't pass the exam from the first attempt, then the waiting time for the second attempt is another 3 to 6 months. So this is significantly lost of time and money, because what you're going to do this meanwhile, how to handle this situation. It's really important to understand your timeline as soon as possible, so you can see how this timeline is going to work with the timeline requirements of the different federal states. Which medical German language FSP format is linked to that state? What is recognized when, where it is recognized? This is really critical. Every federal state has its own version of medical German language exam, of FSP. And in addition, there are different formats like chamber exams and private formats such as FAMET or TELC FSP, and the format changes changes how you must prepare for it. And this leads to the biggest misconception here. Many doctors choose exam based on the question, where is the easiest exam? I really hate to hear this question, but it's normal thing to look for the easiest path, but it's just that it's not the easiest. It's not going to be the easiest when in that direction here. The smarter question is, where is the best overall timeline for me? This is the crucial part here, because easy looking choices can become a trap if the exam dates are rare and if you have to wait 6 months for it. If you have to retake the exam and it takes another 6 months for you, or the pathway requires additional conditions you just don't meet, and you're going to understand that you don't meet them only after too late. You already applied, you already waited too long, and then everything should start in the beginning. For example, many doctors think that TELC FSP is the easiest option, but this option can be misleading. This exam is accepted for approbation only in 3 states in Germany, and in these 3 states, the requirements in these 3 states are actually putting you in this magic closed circle. In order for the approbation in these 3 states to be issued, you need to have either they required either a job offer or residency in that state, which means address registration in some of these states. While most of the clinics will not, as I mentioned, will even not look at your profiles if you don't have approbation first. This puts you in a really bad position. Either to, I don't know, beg for a job somewhere, or to go to a clinic that is absolutely under your level or what you want to have or what you have learned and put your hard work on. So TELC could be a good option only if you already live in one of these 3 federal states, and if you have a written job offer with the clinic that is there. In any other case, it's not the easiest. Actually, it's not the easiest option. And another thing is, if you aim for the easiest option right now, what you're going to do with the hard day-to-day work life that is ahead of you. So exactly why we always say, don't choose your pathway that looks easiest. Just choose the pathway that is officially accepted for your case, for your individual situation, that fits your timeline and matches your individual circumstances. This is really important. Then continuing to the step 3, prepare and pass the B2 exam. Again, Elitsa mentioned it early. You saw that we placed the approbation strategy even before starting the preparation for B2 exam. It's important.
Yeah, you have to know which certificate you need for the B2 and different federal states, different certificates.
Exactly, to know what you're fighting for.
Exactly.
So the first important exam is the B2 exam in general German language, or if you would like C1, if you prefer. We are supporting our clients if they want to do this. It's always a good idea, but the bare minimum is B2 of general German language. Really important milestone, because many cases B2 is the minimum level, and it allows you to move forward with your German residency pathway. So B2 is important, and the real B2 level is more important, as I already mentioned. Everything that comes next becomes harder if you don't have the good foundation in B2 level. The approbation process, the communication with the authorities, the interview preparation, the preparation for the medical German language exam, and especially for the FSP. It's just B2 gives you this base which all next steps are coming much smoother. So as we love to say, spending time to prepare for your B2 level, General German, B2, C1, General German language is actually investing in your future and in your foundation. But everything after already unsuccessfully taken medical German language exam because you thought that you can do it with not that good B2 level, but I can handle it. Everything from their point onwards is waste of time. It's just what it is. And another key point here is that B2 on paper is not enough. We already said. Understand the standard spoken German at normal speed is something that even before you think of exam, you need to be sure there. Be scared to speak German language. Don't even think of the exam. Take your time. Better invest 1 month more. Give yourself this time so you can prepare better. Another thing is to be able to respond spontaneously without freezing. Another thing is to be able to explain ideas clearly in full sentences, to be able to handle everyday bureaucratic and practical situations in Germany. There is, as we usually speak with the leading teacher of our program, there is the big difference between B1 and then B2, C1 level is exactly the professional vocabulary that comes with it. So until that point, until the end of B1, you should be ready with the majority of the grammar. But being able to place yourself as the professional that you are is something that you need to look and to feel in order to be more sure that, okay, I'm ready for this exam and I'm ready to continue further above it. Really common mistake is that you prepare for the test format and ignore the real speaking ability. Yes, you should know how to structure sentences and how the grammar works and how B2 exam works itself. What are the models? What you should know in them, but if your preparation is limited to exam tricks and topics and only the models, you may pass the test and still lose months later because your foundation is not truly stable. What we observe as a trend with all of the candidates that we are working with, and every time when I hear somebody that goes from A0 to B2 for 6-7 months, I just know that it's going to take them at least the same time sticking into the preparation, B2 preparation, because their lack of, their big lack in the languages. So this comes from the real speaking ability is let's say, the main thing that you can catch yourself if you're there or not, if you have the level or not. Certificates that are accepted in most federal states are Goethe and TELC. In some cases, federal states also accept certificates from DSD, DSH, and OSD. However, you need to avoid certificates issued by language schools that are not officially recognized, as these are genuinely not accepted. It's good if you have them, but they're not going to work for the process that you need here. Again, once B2 is completed and completed with the realistic knowledge of what we already mentioned, the process becomes much more concentrated. From there on, actually, the real deal comes in a matter of the process. And how you can move into the next practical milestones with a stronger foundation and to avoid delays and to avoid let's say, money waste is exactly how we work and we support. Just to briefly give you a hint how we support our candidates with this, our program is actually built in phases. Phase 1 is a structured preparation for the B2 exam with conversational training, grammar support, and exam simulations. So you build a real stability, not just test tricks on top of the test tricks. Everything is online. Yes, everything is online, and it's the main thing that we aim on the B2 phase is to make sure that you have the foundation, because you come with different backgrounds, with the different ways that you have learned the language until that time, with the different time that you invested in the language. So it's a crucial part, and our language team is building this partnerships with you, making you understand realistically where you are and helping you fill up these gaps, which of course are your responsibility. But believe me, it's so helpful when somebody comes and gives you the small steps up to the big goal that is out there, in order for you to not feel that overwhelmed and scared. So now, once your language foundation is moving in the right direction, we can talk about the next big thing that decides your timeline, which is the approbation strategy. So applying for approbation.
Application.
Yeah, application.
After
yes.
the strategy.
Yes. So this is the point where the process becomes official. At this step, you should come after you have built a real language foundation. You already talked about this, and you already passed the B2 exam. Here on timelines, paperwork, exam logistics start to matter and start to be much more easier to forecast. Applying for approbation means submitting your documents in the responsible authorities in the federal states you have chosen. So the choice should be already made, as we already mentioned it. The authorities checks your medical qualification, language status, for formal documents, and the legal conditions for your listening pathway. Many doctors underestimate this step because they think submission is only formality. Just I have to fill this up and just send it to them. But in reality, this is where most of the avoidable delays actually start and happens. Incomplete documents, wrong translations, missing legalizations, some state-specific requirements that you just didn't notice, or even some strategy that looked simple in the beginning, but it's actually on your way because of your situation. It becomes really harder and harder. And don't forget that most of the documents, I'm going to just explain it, have some validity. So it's, if you have to do it on again, some of the documents you have to issue again. So it's really important to know what you're doing here. All federal states require a valid passport or ID card, medical diploma, criminal record certificate or certificates from the countries where you have lived the past 6 months, a certificate of good standing, and a medical fitness certificate. Some federal states also require a birth certificate, certificate of conformity, German criminal record certificate, and if applicable, it's a marriage certificate. All translations and legalizations must be prepared in the required form. You need to know what the form is. You need to prepare it for the specific state. You need the right federal state strategy for your individual case. Key, just really important here. You need a realistic understanding of waiting times and the next steps. Again, even some documents validity can put you in a really bad position if you don't think about it, if you don't have it in mind. This step is really important again, and it's so important because it determines what happens next. When you receive feedback from the authority, when you can register for the FSP, and how much time you may lose if something was prepared incorrectly. Another thing that you need to be mindful of, we just earlier we mentioned the waiting times. This includes even this, not only the waiting time for the exams, but how they work on the papers and how they respond. So the message here, our message here is really simple. Do not treat a probation application as only as a paperwork. You can you can't improvise here. You just and you cannot lead your strategy based on what a few of your friends told you. You need to check if this is going to work with you. You need to check if this is still valid because they are changing these requirements. They're changing these trends. So you need to make sure that you treat this step as a strategic. It's a strategic plan, and you, if you do it correctly, the first time, you save months. And if you do it incorrectly, the whole timeline becomes slower, more expensive, harder to forecast, and of course to decide what you're going to do this time when a delay comes. So this is, I think, some of the main things that are coming with the probation application, and it's we think that it's really important for you to know them. Okay, let's have a quick look how we help with this, because even as I hear myself, it sounds really scary. And I was waiting for the next slide to give you a solution. It's always good when there is a solutions on this. How we work with this is that we work with it on a daily basis. We have a team that is responsible for this. We understand the typical bottlenecks here. We understand the exam formats. We understand the administrative differences between the federal states. We look at the trends, and we have created individual strategy to each of you, so we can help avoid unnecessarily delays because mistakes that are done of the wrong state choice. We also act as let's say, as a communicator between with the probation authorities. We know them. We have built this trust with them, and that's helps a lot. And we work with them on a daily basis. So this let's say these connections are always helpful to understand the process and to see the trends and to be able to work with each one of our clients based on the best case scenarios and outcomes for them. In addition, for doctors in our program, we cover all the costs for translation and legalization of the documents, sending the documents to Germany. We cover the state fee for the approbation. Yes, the financial part is important, but what I hear from most of our clients is that They are really enjoying that they don't have to fight with this on a daily basis and to understand what actually happens. As I love to hear, one of my friends asked me how it was with my approbation process with you, and actually I couldn't answer because I just gathered some documents, I sent it to you, and you handled everything. So this is what we do. This is what we do in order for you to be able to focus on the skill boost. This is what we're doing for our clients. And before we continue with the FSP, there is one more strategic topic that we need to address, and this is the visa situation for non-EU citizens. This question is important because the right visa pathway can affect your timeline, your financial planning, and the order in which you handle the next steps. So first, let's start with this simple question. Do you need a visa? If you are an EU citizen, the answer is no. But if you have an EU medical degree and a non-EU passport, then yes, you do need a visa. And this is exactly where many international doctors make mistakes. Many of you think that you're going to handle the traveling to Germany that you need throughout this pathway with the visa, working visa. But the most doctors, for the most doctors, this is not how the process works. In the most cases, you first need to come to Germany to take the FSP exam, to attend interviews and visit hospitals, and only after that you receive a job offer. And only with this job offer, you can then apply for the work visa. This means that the first visa that you have to have is not the work visa, because you need to travel to Germany before being able to obtain this work visa. So what are the real options here? We have listed a few of them. I think all of them, but of course each situation is individual. So let's have a look. Option one is absolutely intentionally put it there because we think that this really often is the best strategy, is stay in your study country, in the country where you are right now. If you still have a valid residency permit in your study country, if you can extend it, job seeking visa or any kind of additional extension of the visa that you have right now, this is the smartest pathway. Really often you prepare your language exam, you prepare for the language exam, you prepare for the probation process from the country, from your study country, this EU country that you are in, and then you travel to Germany temporarily for the interviews and for the medical German language exam. If you are staying in EU country with this permit that you have, you can travel freely to Germany, usually under the Schengen rules. So after you are ready, you are prepared, you traveled for the FSP, you have it successfully, then you traveled for the job interviews, and you receive your approbation, get a job contract, and then it's easy. You apply for the work visa, but only then. This is another really big positive of this kind of option is that, and why it is so strong, is because you avoid blocked bank accounts, expensive language visas, and the high living costs in Germany. In many cases, this is the fastest way, the cheapest, and the safest way. Now I'm just going to again say that most of you think of being in Germany as to be the safest way, much sooner than you need to be. But our advice is, if you can stay as long as possible, I mean, as long as the process needs before you have the job interviews and the contract, this is going to work quite well for you. You can prepare for the language from the country where you are. Believe me, believe us. We have the we see how it works with our doctors. We have the experience. Option 2 is the language visa. If your residency permit in your study country is expiring, or if you are already graduated and you're back to your home country, a language visa can be a very good option. With a language visa, you move to Germany and attend these intensive German courses. But in reality, you can do much more with it. This visa is really often used for preparing, being in Germany while being in Germany and having these courses to prepare for the medical German language exam, to organize your approbation, to attend interviews, and to visit hospitals. Something that this visa, something really important warning here is that many doctors use this visa without a plan. And this is where you run into financial problems, some delays, and some poor preparation at the end of the day. Language visa is only strong in as a part of really clear strategy. You need to know that you cannot always rely only on these intensive courses, but in the same time you have to go in them. So you need to have really stable plan here, how to organize your time, how to organize your money in order for this to work for you. It's a good option, but what we often meet is that some young doctors are calling us and they're like, okay, I spent 7 months here. I'm almost at the end of my visa, and I'm even not at the end of my B2 level. And what should I do right now?
So now I need a proper preparation now because it didn't work. Yeah, that's very often the problem with the language visa.
You need to know this language visa is used from people all over the world with all different professions. So the level that you are going to receive in these courses might not be enough for sure, and but you need to be there. So good planning here is really important. It can work, but it comes with as a part of clear strategy and good planning. Opportunity card, the Chancenkarte. This is newer and very interesting option. Still, it works from April 2024, so we have experience with it. Much of our candidates are using it, and the opportunity card gives you a flexibility, better flexibility than the language visa. It's a point system visa, which for EU graduate doctors has quite good level of points that you're going to receive, and it allows you to stay in Germany, again, to attend the interviews, to do trial work. It allows you to prepare for the FSP and organize everything from inside Germany. Another major advantage is that you don't need to enroll immediately to expensive language schools. So if you have some kind of preparation already going on, you can continue with it, with not necessarily go to the language school, which is additional money. But again, strategy is everything here. It again has validity. Officially, it cannot be prolonged if you're not in a specific stage to prove that you are just there. And even with this visa, you have the block bank account, and you still need to prepare for the process meanwhile, for the language, for the approbation, and build your job pathway. So it's a good option, but again, without good planning, it's not going to work in a best way. Another thing that I wanted to mention here is that I observed that some of you are jumping to have this visa too soon. If you are somewhere in A2 or B1, you're going to need the time of validity of this visa, most of it, for preparing of the language. And if you don't have a stable plan with really, let's say, focused and well-working next steps, at the end of the day, you can still be in the situation where this Chancenkarte visa is almost finishing and you're still nowhere and you don't know what to do. And have it again, it could be challenging. And the fourth option, the recognition visa, interesting. Many doctors hear about this option and think this is the perfect option for me.
Yeah.
But yes, but there is some things that you it's not only you actually, even some lawyers in Germany don't know this correctly, but this visa doesn't work the best way for EU graduates. It's often not the ideal pathway for EU graduates. This visa is based on the document that is called Defizitbescheid, which means that you have some kind of deficit, something that you lack of and you need more time to stay in Germany. And usually it is the recognition of the non-EU diploma in Germany, which with EU graduates often they just don't receive it, or they count on it because sometimes you can receive it, but by law
they receive a confirmation letter. It's a different thing, and sometimes authorities take this confirmation letter as a Defizitbescheid, but a Defizitbescheid is something completely different than a confirmation letter for approbation.
And the receiving it's just not the same way as non-EU graduates. They're receiving the Defizitbescheid, but not the confirmation letter. And this means that it can work in some cases, but it's often really uncertain and really risky, because once you do this, you are just blocked from everywhere.
You wait.
Cannot move. You just need to go home immediately. What you do from there. So our recommendation is to evaluate really carefully first the other visa options before going into this pathway, and to know that for EU graduates this is absolutely not the best option. The risk is too big here. So to simplify the key logic for you, you usually do not start with work visa. First, you enter, you either stay, of course, abroad, or you enter Germany in order to prepare, to take the exams, to attempt the interviews and find the job. And only after you switch to a work visa. Maybe some of you have passports that allows you to enter Germany freely. Perfect. Then this topic is not for you. But we know that for many of you, this is really important topic, and that's why we wanted to give you more information about this. We do support our clients with information about it. The plans that we are providing are the main thing that helps for which option is the best. Becomes really clear once you have the clear plan of the individual doctor. So once the visa strategy is clear, we can move forward to the next major milestone, which is preparing and passing the medical German language exam, the FSP.
Yes, and I can take over from here. This is maybe the most, or it is the most important exam, the Fachsprachprüfung, the medical German exam. And what is important for you to understand is that this exam is not just a grammar test or simple vocabulary test. It's a professional communication exam. It's designed to check if you can function safely in a clinical environment. So it doesn't only examine your German skills, your German terminology skills, but really your communicational skills in a professional environment. So as you can see here, this exam usually have 3 parts. It has 2 oral parts and 1 written part. The 2 oral parts are first patient communication. This itself consists of usually another 2 parts. It's taking medical history, called Anamnesegespräch in German, and in some cases the patient education, depending on a FSP format. This is the so-called Patientenaufklärung. And also the second part of the oral part of the exam is the medical communication. This is a case presentation. called Patientenvorstellung. You present a case in front of the colleague. So you have at once patient communication in a normal daily general German, and then you have a medical communication in the professional environment with a chief of department or a colleague in medical German using medical terms. And this is the part that is pretty tricky in this exam, that you have to switch between explaining something and talking to a patient, and be careful to not use any medical terms while talking to a patient, because you have to have learned how to explain the procedures or ask the questions in a normal daily life German. But you also have to be able to explain some symptoms or procedures to your colleague with medical terms, and you must be able to switch between these. And then you have the written part of the exam. This is the Arztbrief, the medical documentation. You document the medical case that you have in a specific structure that you have to be also very confident in. And this is also medical German. In this part, you also use medical terms, because this medical documentation is meant to reach another doctors. They're usually, like Simona already said, there are 16 federal states with 16 different FSP requirements, FSP requirements and formats, but there are three main types of this exam. As you can see here, it's the medical exam, the medical German exam of the medical chamber. Each state has its own medical chamber, and you can take the exam there. There are also some private providers recognized in some federal states, like FAMED and TELC. Simona already mentioned these. Maybe you have heard about them as well. And here you can see the differences. For example, the medical chamber exam is a live exam in front of an exam committee, and FAMED is not live. It's usually at a test center, digital on a laptop, with examiners connected by video. This is the main difference. The FAMED is a bit different, or pretty different actually. And on the other side, the TELC exam is an exam which is a mix between a live exam for the C1 parts, for the medical German, for the FSP parts, and you also have an additional written part for B2. You have reading, listening parts, and also some tests for B2, which is why this TELC exam also in many cases covers the requirement for the B2 requirement, which means that you don't need both certificates, B2 and FSP. You need only the TELC B2 C1, which could be a trap again. This is really, we do recommend this TELC exam only in very specific cases, really when you already have either a secure job in one of these federal states, Hessen, Schleswig-Holstein or Saarland, or if you already live there. And I usually also, to be honest, don't recommend to skip the B2 exam in general German and go directly to the TELC B2 C1 FSP, because people do go very early in those cases to the exam, and the B2 exam is very good to check where you are at right now. How is your German right now? If you really have this level that is required. And we have made a lot of experience with people doing the TELC FSP, and their German knowledge at the end is really weak. And this makes it very difficult to find a job. And if you find a job, it makes it even more difficult to pass the probationary period. So you usually have a lot of problems. There are a lot of problems that could come with the TELC FSP. That's why I don't say that it's a no-go, but it's recommended only for very specific cases. We usually do recommend the FAMED because the FAMED is very flexible. You can choose the date on your own. There are many dates available. And the process with the FSP, the medical chamber, is a bit different because you first need to apply for the approbation, then you wait to receive a confirmation letter, and then you have to wait several months in order to receive an invitation for the FSP. Like Simona said, in some federal states, you can wait 5-6 months for a date, and if you don't pass it, another 3 to 5 months, which is really a very long time. And with the FAMED, you're much more flexible. It's a bit more expensive, but still it does work pretty good, even if the format is different. Another advantage of the FAMED exam is that at the FSP you have one case, and all 3 parts of the exam are concentrated in this one case. The medical history, the case presentation, and the medical documentation are concentrated on one case, which means that if you forget something, to ask something in the first part while taking the medical history, and if you do some mistakes, you're going to take these mistakes to the second and to the third part, which could be, of course, minus points for you at the end. With the FAMED exam, you have more parts. You have 5 parts, shorter, 10 minutes, which is a big time pressure. But there are 5 different cases, so you don't take any mistakes with you to the next case. And if you don't pass one exam, or if you do a lot of mistakes in the first part, you don't take these mistakes to the second, third, fourth, and fifth part. And in these federal states, you usually, or in some of them, you don't need to have the residency. You don't need an address there, or you don't need a secure job position, which also make it a bit easier, but also depends on your individual situation. So it's good to have a good advisor here as well on what the right format would be for your case. So to close this language chapter, the most important thing for you to know is that there is no universally best FSP type. Only the option that best fits you, your legal situation, your finances, your federal state, your language level, your timeline, this is the best option for you. It's very individual, so all these exams are fine if they fit your personal situation. And this is the most important thing that you should know. And you should consider that you should not choose the exam only because it seems easier. This is what Simona told you already, but please don't build your strategy around how easy is the exam, because the most difficult exam comes after the FSP, after the BTU, after the FSP. The most difficult exam is the clinic, and you should prepare in order to be ready to communicate in this professional environment in the clinic, and not just to pass some kind of exam. If you prepare for the clinic, any kind of exam will be easy for you. You will pass it. And this is exactly how we help you prepare with our program. What we offer is, this is the phase 2 of our preparation. Simona already told you about phase 1. We prepare you for all kinds of exams because we have a pretty individual mixed preparation. We offer group lessons. We also have a video course. We also have scripts with real exam cases. We have individual exam simulations where you can train your kind of exam. And this mix allows you to prepare exactly for the kind of exam that you're going to take. And again, our scholarship covers a lot of the costs. It covers the complete preparation, it covers the exam fee, and it also covers the travel organization and the complete cost coverage, the complete costs, traveling costs for this travel for the FSP in Germany. And this means for you that You don't have to manage anything alone. You just concentrate on learning the language, preparing for the exam, and you receive structured guiding from our professional teachers, realistic praxis in the individual simulations, in the group lessons, and also practical support around everything that that you need to organize for the exam, the registration, the traveling, and everything needed. Now let's continue with step 7, entering the job market strategically. Once you have completed all required steps and submitted all the documents for the approbation, including the FSP, the authority is going to issue your approbation. And only then does the next step begin, entering the job market. Why do you need a good strategy here? You need a good strategy because not every specialty, not every clinic type or region in Germany is equally realistic for international doctors at the beginning. If your strategy here is wrong, you can again lose time with rejections, with weak interviews. You can also lose money because you haven't prepared properly for the interviews, traveled to Germany, invested a lot of money, but you didn't choose the right clinic region or didn't prepare properly for the interviews. So here the strategy is again very important, and it's very important to be realistic on your chances as a beginner. Simona said it earlier, even if you have some previous experience in your study country, in your home country, you're still a beginner in the German healthcare system, and this is often what matters. They need you to gain some experience in the system, no matter if you're a specialist in internal medicine or cardiology, neurology, you're still a beginner in the system, and you need some time for adaptation. So at this stage, you need to think strategically in 2 major dimensions. First, which specialty is realistic as your entry point? And second, which type of clinic and which region will give you the best real chance to start successfully? So let's take a look at the specialties and how to choose your specialty strategically. Some specialties currently offer very good entry chances for international doctors. You can see them here. These fields often actively search for doctors, often offer structured training, and are more open for international graduates because they have many positions open. Of course, this can change, but usually in most cases, the picture is the same with the specialties. You have pretty good entering chances in internal medicine, neurology, psychiatry, including child and adolescent psychiatry, psychosomatic medicine, which is very interesting because it's not common in other countries. You don't have it as a single specialty. Anesthesiology is also good for the start. General surgery, or the basic surgeries, and family medicine. But from family medicine, it also makes sense to start with internal medicine in the clinic. And also you can see here that I have marked these in orange. This is because these 3 specialties, pediatrics, orthopedics and trauma surgery, and gynecology and obstetrics, could be harder to entry in the beginning, especially in bigger cities, but they're definitely possible if you're flexible regarding location. So you have to be pretty flexible. I'm going to say a few words about location as well, and then your chances are okay to start in these specialties. And we're talking here about chances if you don't have any experience, because of course, if you have more experience in one of these fields, the chances are better to receive invitations. A very important thing when we see those specialties here, a very important thing to understand about the structure of the residency in Germany is that subspecialties usually come later. Many international doctors want to start directly in some fields like cardiology or gastroenterology or hematology or cardiothoracic surgery. I understand that you know this structure from your home country. In many cases, for example, Romania, Bulgaria, maybe other countries as well, we know that you have directly the narrowed specialization in cardiology. But in Germany, it's different. You have to complete the basic specialization first of either internal medicine or surgery, which includes it's 2 or 3 years basic specialization, and it includes rotations in general medicine or general surgery, emergency departments, and also ICU. Then after you completed this basic specialization or common trunk, you can continue with a narrowed specialization like a specific surgical field or a specific subfield of internal medicine. This is how specialization in Germany works. You can also do different combinations here. You don't have to decide at the beginning. For example, if you're not sure if you want to do cardiology or gastroenterology later, you just start in internal medicine. And this doesn't matter. You don't have to decide because you just have to fill in a catalog with everything that you do. And at the end of the specialization, you apply for the final exam with this catalog. So you can complete the basic specialization first and decide on what you want to do further after the second or third year. And the last type of specialties are the very competitive specialties in Germany. They're, I think, very competitive in every country, everywhere, not only in Germany. And these are dermatology, ophthalmology, pathology, ENT, urology, and radiology. I must say radiology, urology may be a bit easier, a little bit easier, but dermatology, ophthalmology, very, very competitive and very difficult to entry. Same as with plastic surgery here. Even with the basic specialization in surgery, in general surgery, it's a very competitive field, and you have to be very patient and you have to gain a lot of experience. You have to do some additional training in order to have a chance to get a position in one of these fields. But it's not impossible. So a very smart strategy is to start in a specialty that's easier to enter, one of these, and then gain some experience, become more confident in the language with the general German system, and then apply for one of the more, or for the desired specialty if it's more difficult to entry. And in many cases, up to 1 year experience of another specialties are recognized for any other specialty, which means that it's not a loss of time. It's really, think of the first years of your specialization in Germany as years of integration and learning and adapting to the system, because you're not going to lose anything. It's just going to help you build the right strategy for you for later. And the second strategic important point when it comes to entering the job market smart is choosing the right clinic and the right region. Many international doctors think they should apply only to university clinics, but in reality, this is often the worst choice that you can make as a beginner. University hospitals are highly competitive. The workload there is enormous, and they usually expect you to function quickly from day one, rather than grow slowly into the system. So one very important point to understand is that you can complete your medical residency, or at least one big part of it, in any clinic that have the necessary license for training residents. It's called Weiterbildung, Ermächtigung. it doesn't have to be a university clinic. It can be another kind of academical clinic. It can be private clinic, a public clinic. It can be a rehabilitation, even a rehabilitation clinic for the first 1.5 years. So make this choice smart. You don't have the perfect clinic for the beginning. You need a clinic where you will have a good start. And it's also important to know for you that you can change clinic during residency. This is very common in Germany. So many doctors start in smaller clinics in smaller cities, complete the training sections that are possible there, and then move on to another clinic if certain required rotations or sections cannot be completed in this clinic. In general, the training time you have already completed is credited. It's going to be recognized. So here, again, you don't lose any time by changing clinics, and it's very common in Germany. So this is very important for you to know. Again, university hospitals, the least realistic option for beginners, and very high competition, very high expectations, not the perfect solution at all. Pretty much the same with very large hospitals, often with more than 800 beds. They are also not that recommendable, even if they're not university hospitals. They can still be highly demanding and may expect faster performance and adaptation. Mid-sized hospitals with 400 to 800 beds, somewhere in between, are often a very strong option because they can combine structured training with more realistic entry chances, especially for some medical fields, like, for example, gynecology, pediatrics, or orthopedics. You don't have them in every small clinic. You have them in mid-sized hospitals, and they could be a very good entry point with not that high competition and workload. And of course, a very, very good option for some specialties are the smaller regional hospitals with 100 to 400 or 500 beds. They're in many cases an excellent first step, especially for international doctors who are very flexible and want to start small and gain experience slowly, which is the best strategy. And it's the same strategic logic applies regarding the region choice. If you focus only on very popular cities such as Berlin, Hamburg, Munich, Cologne, Düsseldorf, your entry can become much harder because they're very, very competitive as well. And most of them have enough people. They don't have that much of a lack of doctors, and also the workload is very high. So if you're open to smaller cities, regional areas, or less saturated federal states, I know a lot of you do not want to go to the east of Germany, but we know many doctors who work in the east of Germany and are very happy there at the beginning. And I should say that often east of Germany are closer, like just cultural closer to many cultures, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, Poland. So it could even happen that you feel more comfortable in these regions. So be open for, I always recommend just be open for options. And if you receive an invitation from a federal state where you have thought, it's not my first choice, just give it a chance. Just go there and see how it is, because it's very important to go there and feel how you feel in this environment, and not rejecting options just because it doesn't look perfect on paper. The key question here is not what looks most attractive for me on paper. The better question is really, where do I have the highest realistic chance to start well, to learn safely, and to build some experience in the German healthcare system. And please remember that your first position in Germany does not need to be your final dream job. It needs to be a smart first step. And this is something that many of you do not realize, and it's very important because I know many people who prefer to wait months in their home country without working, without gaining experience, just waiting for the perfect positions. And at the end, they have waited several months. There's a big gap in their CV, which doesn't really help them finding the perfect position because clinics in many cases react negatively to that kind of gaps in the CV. So a smart strategy is just start somewhere. So now when you have the strategy, it's time to master the applications, the interviews, and the hospitations. And it's very important to apply properly for a job, which at this stage, strategy is not enough. You have to do things. You need to master how you present yourself in everything, in your documents, in the interviews, and during hospitations. And this is exactly where many international doctors lose opportunities because they send weak documents, weak motivation letters, applications that do not look professional enough for the German hospital market. And to be honest, we see this every day, really. Doctors apply on their own with the wrong strategy, with wrong documents, CVs with mistakes. I have seen everything, really. The CVs that I receive, and there's a question, why don't I receive any invitations for an interview? CVs with mistakes, really poor structure, weak presentation, to general motivation letters, everything. So documents are really the first important step, how you present yourself, because clinics receive a lot of documents, a lot of applications, and you have to make sure that your application really looks good. So if you have these Europass CV,
standard,
please just
format,
throw it away. Please just, it should go in the trash. It's not this. It's just not good. There are many more options that you can find online, but take care of your documents. This is, of course, something as well that we do for our candidates. We prepare the documents in the form needed so that clinic really see how professional they are and that candidates receive real chances to present themselves in the interview. Regarding the interviews, it's very important to know that it doesn't start with a chief physician. When you're going to the hospital for an interview or for a hospitation, the interview starts with you greeting at the reception desk. From that moment on, everyone observes how you speak, how you behave, how prepared you seem, and if you create a professional impression. It's very important. Everyone evaluates you, even it does not seem that obvious. Resident doctors, co-workers, everyone, the receptionist as well. So the way that you interact with them, with all those group of people, really all contributes to the final impression. If you greet properly, if you say goodbye when you go, if you go to lunch with them, even this plays a role how you present yourself. Like I said, the same during interviews and hospitations. At the hospitations, you have a chance to show the clinic also your medical skills. You don't really do anything medical, but you might have to answer some medical questions, which is also very important. So the goal is not just to have your documents and somehow survive the interview. The goal is to create really strong and consistent professional impression across the entire application process, because this is very important. Even if most clinics need doctors, they need good doctors, not just someone. And this is another area where we support our doctors, like I said, very intensively. This is one of the areas where we help most, maybe. I don't know. I think we're telling this about each step, but we just help a lot. We do, first of all, work with a large database of clinics, and we can help or we can filter them for you. And we filter out the hospitals that are truly realistic and good for beginners, first of all. And this is very important because, like I said, not every clinic is good for you. On the other side, clinics trust us because we're their long-term partner and because we stand behind the candidates we introduce. We prepare the documents professionally, we prepare you for the interviews, we organize the entire trip for interviews and hospitations. We also cover the traveling costs, so clinics don't have anything to do with this organizational process as well, and this is why they really appreciate our help at this point. So you are not left alone in this process as well. We help you manage everything and present yourself in the clinic in the best way possible.
Just to fill up and go back to the language preparation that I mentioned maybe 100 times how important it is. But again, it's much easier to work on you representing yourself when you have the stable foundation of not thinking of what was the correct word here, what should I use right now. So the important things are coming afterwards, and we're supporting in each step with this.
Yes. Okay, I'm giving it back to you with the point finding an accommodation.
So yes, the accommodation is another thing that actually, when it comes to it, it's really important step. It's finding accommodation is one of the things that helps the next steps become more stable and more stable. It's a core part of the stable start in Germany once you are already there. Again, it's underestimated by most of the doctors, and without realistic housing solution, everything becomes harder. The best case scenario is to arrive calmly, to attend the interviews, to start work in Germany, to do your registration, to register your address, to open a bank account, organize your first administrative steps that we already mentioned. And really common mistake is to look for this first apartment as too much of a long-term let's say long-term apartment. It doesn't need to be that
the
way.
perfect solution.
Yes, again, we're not saying that you need to do big compromises with you and yourself and what you are looking for, because we mentioned it in each step, but you need to realize what start small and grow big looks like. And we want to give you the idea how many things are going to change when you are longer in Germany. That's why, as Elita said, start there, start from somewhere. Better to do it than stay at home and just thinking how important I am, because at some point everybody else is going to be more important than you because they have the experience and they have all of these things already done. So not look at this perfect apartment, long-term apartment immediately. It might come at some point, but even to be honest, most of our clients are quite happy with the apartments that they find, even in the first months. So the reality is that finding this amazing, perfect apartment can cost too much time and money and really unnecessarily stress. In the beginning, the goal is not perfection. It's the goal is to find safe and practical first housing solution. There are some things that you need to do, this bureaucratic and registering, and even with the finding apartment itself, that might lead to too much of a stress if you don't if you're not ready to do a compromise here. Sometimes temporarily furnished accommodation is quite a good option as a beginning because most of the apartments in Germany are not furnished. A room or apartment for the first weeks or months, amazing option. Even if we're always checking if the clinics are offering some of that kind of solution, but this helps a lot because with a few weeks or months in Germany, you already have the experience and be able to take some documents that you need to represent in front of the landlords of your perfect dreamed apartment. That even some bureaucratic things are leading to that you're not fully able to have it since the beginning. Having the perfect apartment often means a lot of time for furnishing it, a lot of time for really long time for just making it your own. And honestly, the first few weeks are going to be so crazy that the last thing that you're going to think is what kind of color is the light in your living room. Believe us.
But I have to say, unfortunately, most accommodations in Germany, most rentals are unfurnished. So this is something that you should really take into consideration.
Yes. Important and leading thing would be apartment and housing that is close enough to the clinic. Sometimes you really underestimate how important this is and how this additional 1 hour could be so important when you are tired and overwhelmed and you just want to go back home and or you want to go faster to your to the clinic. And a solution, you need to look for a solution that allows you to complete your registrations after arrival, as I mentioned. Not too complicated. You're still not that strong in negotiating. So try to keep it simple here. It is also important to be realistic about location. You no need to focus only on the central areas in the most attractive neighborhoods. Yes, you as a doctor in Germany are going to be preferred from a lot of the landlords that are out there. Being doctor in Germany comes with let's say with some privileges with housing too, but for the start the better focus would be, can I arrive safely on time, can I reach the clinic faster without that much of a switching public transport or too complicated traveling organization. In general, to look for something that is going to make the daily chaos as small, as less as possible. So just like the job market, preparation matters here too. Landlords and this housing real estate providers might ask for documents, for proof of identity, for proof of income or employment, and sometimes additional confirmations. So this step also needs preparation and realistic expectations, especially as I mentioned. Try to keep it simple, focus on the important things. At some point when you are more adapted, more into the bureaucracy, into the culture, into everything that is there, it's going to be much easier for you to move and to find this dream apartment that you might look. And believe me, with a few salaries on top, it's going to be easier for you to, you're going to be, let's say, more confident looking for this dream apartment. So the key message here is your first accommodation in Germany does not need to be your final home. It needs to give you a stable base from which you can go to work, have your time, have rest, where it's going to allow you to complete your registrations and settle for the next steps that are going to come, and it's going to be easier at that point. So don't worry. This, of course, is something that we actively support. I mean, I know it can sound again overwhelming, but we are helping our clients and the doctors that we are working with that. First, the realistic expectations that they need to build around it, although most of you, when you're already in that step, are like, I'll take whatever, just let's do it, just let's start. At some point, we were even kidding that we can take, we can have a camper or some kind of temporary housing where we can move clinic to clinic. But we even provide for our clients. It's really important for us that our clients don't feel just left alone somewhere there. Yes, we find you a job and then go ahead and take care of whatever is coming next. In a few slides, Alex is going to explain more about how we work, but this is something that is our, let's say, work moral ethic. And that's why for that part, because it could take additional finance or resources moving to Germany. We just said unfurnished, a few rents you need to have prior. So we even provide interested free loan to our clients that helps them cover the rental deposit and for the first month's rent, which this amount is you can really easily repay later on several installments. It's going to be perfect. It works perfectly okay. But the idea is not to feel alone in that stage too. I know that from the beginning it's really hard to imagine how situation where it comes after you have the job contract, which is the final goal, but actually there are a few more things afterwards that are really important, and are the importance here is not survival importance, but more of a let's do this on a stable and good way for each one of our doctors. So once your job and accommodation is in place, the next step is to complete some key registrations and administrative steps after arrival, and Elise is going to share us more about them.
Exactly. After arrival in Germany, like Simona said, there are several registrations and steps that are essential for legally secure a stable start and to be legally allowed to work as a doctor in Germany. They're not just bureaucracy for its own sake. They affect if you can start work smoothly, receive your salary correctly, access healthcare, open a bank account. So these steps at the end are essential, and you have to consider them because and plan them and also take care of them, because they're really an obligation. You have to do this in order to be able to work, and this is what many doctors forget, because they think, oh, approbation, okay, now I'm done. You're not. Bureaucracy is never done in Germany. So what you need to do is, once you arrive in Germany, you have to register your address as soon as possible, because you're going to need a tax ID for your registration at the clinic in order to receive your salary. And you receive this tax ID only if you have registered your address. You receive it a couple of weeks later. You have to arrange your health insurance as soon as possible, because this is the health insurance in Germany also covers social insurance, pension-related matters. This is very important because, again, you cannot be registered as an employee in the clinic if you don't have a health insurance. This is also something that takes time. You can arrange the health insurance online, but you have to wait a couple of weeks until you receive the confirmation, until you receive your social security number, and you need all of this in order to be able to be registered as an employee. You need to open a bank account, and in some cases you can open a bank account from your home country, but in other cases you need to open it in Germany and you need this tax ID for it, so also something that you have taken care for in advance. And also there some crucial registrations at the medical chamber, at the pension insurance for doctors. There are a bunch of employer onboarding documents that you need to read to take care of. So really, many of these things must be clarified early. Some of them you can take care of from your home country. But again, here we have our experts with us. You have someone in your side who is taking care of all the registrations that you need, who is taking care of the communication with the clinic, explaining them which documents you already have and which documents we're going to provide later on a later point. And here's also something very crucial and the point where clinics trust us, and it's a lot more comfortable for clinics to hire using our support because they know that we're going to take care of all the documents needed, and that we have experience with this, and international doctors lack this experience, which is normal. So this is something where we also support a lot. And yeah, now let's talk about something very important that everyone wants to know.
Everyone wants to know, and everyone are asking, and sometimes I really want to be able to say to each one of the doctors that are asking me, you are going to be ready with your B1 for 3 months. I can see it from here, but unfortunately this is not the case. So really interesting topic that each one of you, I know it's really interesting for you, but the timeline, you need to understand that the honest answer, how long it's going to take you to have this process done, it's the honest answer, it really depends. It's absolutely manageable. I just spoke with one candidate that said, I truly believe that if somebody already did it, I can do it too. So it's done. It's a lot of people are doing it. It's manageable if you understand the structure and follow a clear plan. This slide here shows exactly the typical timeline, but it's really, again, important to empathize that, and you remember that every candidate starts in a different point, and this is where it is quite hard for us to be able from the beginning to tell you how long it's going to take, and this is why we have placed the time between your current language level until your medical FSP exam as individual. It depends from the level that you are right now. It depends from the time that you have spent in the language. It depends on what kind of learner you are. It depends on how many languages you know. It can really depends on a lot of things. So the stable pathway here is to be really active participants and to have this responsibility, consistency with the language, and so you can even for yourself forecast how long it's going to be. Observe how long it took you to go to the levels until B1. See how it works for you. Be honest with yourself. You already understood the importance of stable foundation in the language. So here, the general answer that we are giving for the language preparation is that you need between 2 and 4 months. But I cannot tell you how many times I was surprised by the different situations that some of our clients are going in. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it takes longer. So this really varies on where you are right now. Once you have your medical German language language exam, the things are quite predictable afterwards, because the medical German language exam and the let's say the period of time that the result is coming up is something quite clear. So we can say that from the successfully taken medical German language exam to obtaining approbation, it can take between 1 and 3 months. By law, it should not be more than 3 months, but in practice, sometimes it takes longer. It's just what it is. The current usual, let's say most common waiting time is 1.5 months for the approbation. Once you have the approbation, between this stage and the job interviews and hospitations, it can take between 1 and 3 months. It depends on the current job market. It depends from the specialty that you have chosen. Some move faster. It depends from the flexibility, as Elitsa mentioned, of the regional flexibility. This is really crucial here, and it helps a lot with the timing. So this can make a big difference. When we talk about the time between job interviews and hospitations and the job offer and employment, we have placed here between 2 and 4 weeks. It's not uncommon that you even receive feedback if they want to work together with you during the job interview, but the process, there are some documents. Sometimes they take their time for their feedback if they have more, when they have more doctors that are interviewing. So between 2 and 4 weeks for this stage here. Then after you have the job offer and the employment contract, because of everything that we have explained in the past few slides, until the actual job start, you need 1-2 more months. It's just how it is, and you need to have it in mind. And this makes the final time that you need to think of and to be ready for it, especially if you are in visa situation and you need to do your time plan, that from a successfully taken medical German language exam until your actual job start, there is going to be between 3 and 6 months, like good case scenarios. Of course, it can take longer. Of course, some unpredictable things might happen. They are there. It really depends what kind of strategy and plan you have done. Important final message that we want to give you here: these are time frames. These time frames are orientational values. They're based on the experience, many years of experience, and the different cases that we work with, and they are showing the average progress, but the individual timelines can really vary. Some steps can take longer. For example, the probation, as I mentioned, sometimes they're overloaded, sometimes they take more time, sometimes the clinics are taking and need more time for their final decision. Other steps can move faster. It's really depending on the flexibility, the specialty that you have chosen, the regions that we decided to work with. So it is important to see this timeline as a realistic framework and to know that this is a tool that can help you with the plan, but it's really important to have it on time. And to make sure that you work with it. Just to make a brief connection with the visas. For example, if you remember, the one thing that you need to travel to Germany is the medical German language exam, the FSP exam, and then the next thing is the interviews and hospitations. And as you can see, there could be between 2 and 6 months between them. So this, if you know this in advance, it's going to be a really, really big plus for you to plan your visa application.
Exactly. Well, guys, we are almost done. We have given you a lot of information. I hope that it's not overwhelming, but
it's
now
just what it is.
It's just what it is. This is the path that each one of you have to go through if you want to start your medical career in Germany. And this is what our purpose is, to support you the best way possible in this way. So now you have seen it all, you have seen what you need and how it looks like, and I would like to summarize for you how we guide doctors through this whole process. We already gave you some information about our program, some parts of it, and now I want to show you how we help international doctors save time, save money, and really have a successful start in Germany.
Stressless.
Stressless, yes. So the first phase of our support is the match and commit. This is the phase where we get to know your background. We have a phone call or phone calls. We have video calls. We receive some information from you about your background, about your goals, about your personal timeline, about your motivation. And on the other side, we provide you with a lot of information about the process. As you can see, you will receive a recording of this webinar. You will receive some individual guidance, information about your preferences, about your chances for the medical field that you have chosen. And you get a clear picture of how we work and how we can support you in your individual case, and if decided this pathway fits your situation and your wishes. Once we have decided to start working together, that you want to join our program, we want to have you in the program, we sign a contract and start working on your success. In those two phases that you can see here, they happen pretty much in parallel. The first one is the skill boost with the language preparation, starting from the level that you're on right now. We are going to do an fluency test. You're going to have a personal meeting with our leading teacher, the leading teacher of our program. You're going to evaluate your current language level together and build a language preparation program for you. You will receive some tips, some guidance. You will receive access to our courses and also to the materials, learning materials. We will organize some individual lessons for you and help you prepare for both exams, B2 and the FSB. In addition, this is something that is very important also in our program. We already told you that we don't only prepare for the exams. We have a medical preparation as well, which is theoretical medical preparation with everything that you need to know for your work in a German clinic. It's led by a doctor who has completed this program with us as well several years ago. Now he's successfully working in Germany as a doctor, and he's leading this course. And also we have guests, another clients of us who already work in Germany and different medical fields and different clinics. They're sharing their experience with you in those courses, in those medical training courses. And we also offer some courses for preparing you for the interviews, which is, like I already said, very important. At the same time, we have a team taking care of your approbation and visa process. You can see here only approbation, but we also support you with the visa. That's just because we also cover the costs for the complete approbation and not for the visa. But you will have someone on your side who's taking care of everything, telling you exactly which documents you need and which form. We are taking care of the strategy for choosing the federal state for you, which best fits your needs. We are going to organize every translation for your documents, send them to Germany, and also we're going to organize all the exams and the traveling and book everything that you need for your travel to the exam. Once you have the skills and you have the approbation, we go to the career lounge. We prepare your profile so that it's attractive for German clinics. We prepare the complete application process, prepare you for interviews. You go to the interviews. We organize again the traveling, the hospitations, You visit 1 to 3 clinics in Germany, depending on the market and on your performance. And then you can choose, in best case, you can choose where to start and which clinic. And we help you, of course, with the job contract, because there are a lot that many doctors don't understand regarding to the contract. So we explain everything to you in an understandable language and not law language, so that you feel secure to start. We help you with the relocation, we help you find an accommodation, we help you with all the registration that we have mentioned, and we just make sure that you have a really smooth start in the clinic, because it's our goal. At the end of the day, we have the same goal, that you have the most successful start in Germany. And as you can see here, our support doesn't end with placing you and getting a commission. We stay your partner even after this. We have a big community of doctors that we are still in contact with, and we call it inmed family. Like I said, they're also visiting our medical training and supporting there, but in the complete process, actually, they support you even when you go to hospitations and clinics, where we already have placed other doctors. They're really friendly. They help you prepare for interviews with some tips. They're taking care of you during the hospitations. And this is a very nice thing, because you automatically have some kind of a social environment in Germany when you start in Germany. And we also try to meet twice a year somewhere in Germany, and we visit different cities together, spend a weekend together, and this is very helpful for socializing, exchanging some experience. Sometimes it's just very helpful to know I'm not the only one that went through this path. I'm not the only one who feels lonely. I'm not the only one who feels sometimes if I haven't studied medicine or if I don't know any German. You just realize that it's normal and that everyone feels this way. Yeah, and there are a lot of really great friendships that have been made in this community, and this makes us really happy, because we see great friendships today, and we know that they have met, and the inmed courses they have learned together for the exams, and it's really a great thing. And of course, we help you with everything else, even 1 or 2 years after starting your residency with us. You can always call us if you receive some documents that you don't understand. You can call us if you want to switch the clinic and want to use our support for a new placement. You can call us if you, have some problems with colleagues in the clinic and need some tips from us. We're happy to always be there for you, even months and years after the placement. So in short, our process combines structured preparations, guidance, document support, everything that you need starting from B1, leading to successfully start as a doctor in Germany. And in addition, we do cover many of the costs that you will have. The complete preparation is for free, all the courses. We cover all the costs for the approbation and exams, the fees, the translation of the documents, the shipping of the documents, and also all the travel and accommodation costs for FSP for interviews, and also traveling costs for the flights, for the relocation, the last flights. So important for you to know is that's not a charity. We're not a charity organization. We have built a win-win model. You receive a funded structured program. Clinics receive well-prepared doctors from us, and we are paid by the clinics. So this is why you also have obligations in this program. First, to really put your effort on learning the language properly, because we want to place good doctors to the clinics. And we receive our commission only after successful placement. And only after the doctor has successfully passed the probationary period, which is the first 6 months in the clinic. And these are your obligations in the process. These are the requirements. In order to apply for our program, you need a completed medical education, or you are a student in 5th or 6th year in your studies from an EU country. I must say that I have already said it. We're specialized in supporting doctors with EU diploma, which is right now, maybe it will change in the future, but not yet. The program is specially designed for EU graduates. You need a minimum level of B1, of a stable B1. These are the basics that we have talked about, and you need to commit that you will start through our placement. Of course, you have to pass the probationary period, or if you don't like it, if something happened, you don't pass the probationary period in the clinic, you just have to contact us again for a second placement, because this is how both parts will win from this situation. So if you want to apply, you just have to scan this QR code and fill out the application form. Then we're going to call you. You can also just go to our website, book an appointment there. We're going to give you a call and start with the match and commit phase, where we're going to ask you some questions about yourself, about your personal situation, and decide what the best information and the best next step for you would be. And last but not least, we want to show you what this process leads to. You see where we have placed doctors until now. These are not all our clients, but some of them. But you can see that we have placed them all over Germany.
We would not see the map if we placed all of them.
Yeah. We don't have a picture from everyone.
Yes.
So we have placed them in academic hospitals where they can start or do a part or do a complete specialization. The average monthly salary is 5,600 before taxes. This is the average monthly salary of a resident doctor in the first year, and it increases with each further year of experience. This leads to a net salary at the beginning of, it's very individual, but approximately 3,300 net salary. And in addition, when you start taking shifts, weekend shifts and night shifts, you will receive a lot more. You can receive up to 4,000 in the first year, even more, depending on what kind of shifts you take. In addition, the clinic often offer paid trainings. I have spoken with a doctor of us yesterday, and she was like, you cannot imagine what they're paying for me, all kinds of further training. I want to do 3 additional trainings, and she just started in March, and they're continuing investing in her. So yeah, that's Germany. A lot of clinics do it. They are very welcoming.
Good ones.
The good ones, yes. They are very welcoming to international doctors, and they also support you to develop your career. So this is the outcome of our program that we're very, very happy about. And if you are not ready to apply yet, but you want some more information or you have some additional questions,
yes, we do have our weekly Q&A sessions, and I just had a peek look at the questions that you have placed here. A lot of them can find quite a good place in the weekly Q&A sessions, so you can just scan this QR code and it's going to lead you to the first available next date, and you can just book slot there, come, and we are going to be able to discuss your individual situation and to exchange information and to see how it can work for you, even if you're way before your B1 level, which is one of the requirements for you to apply for our program. So we're offering quite different ways for you to reach out, and again, it's important for you, and that's why we are doing it. We are also available in the social medias. You can also follow us there. I always say to have a look recently, have a look on the reviews and on our YouTube page. It has there are some of our clients that have shared their experience, how they are feeling and how their path onwards Germany passed by. And I'm thinking it's going to be useful for you to have a look on it too, so you know that all of these important and complicated things can work at the end, and they can work in a really good way if you if you approach with the correct plan and strategy for them, and maybe if you choose the correct partner. So I'm waiting for you in our weekly Q&A sessions. They're there exactly for you. They're like a casual, open communication, answering some questions, and it's always useful for all of the participants to understand the answers.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe we can go into the questions now, or we can take them in the Q&A sessions, because I'm Q&A sessions, I wanted to say.
Yes.
I'm not sure if everybody's still here. I see that there are some very individual questions here. So first of all, if the talk is about residency or also about starting after the residency, if you're still here, Daniel, we do support also for after the residency. So just contact us, book an appointment for a free consultation, and we can discuss your individual situation and give you some guidance and some information about starting as a specialist. The sixth question is very individual. So we can support you from Lithuania, but our programs start from B1. So first you have to take care of the language until B1 on your own before you join our program, because until then we can just support you with some information, but we don't offer personal guidance before achieved good B1 level. Then another question for you, docs. Do we need to have already a C1 when we arrive to Germany? No, you don't. I think we have talked about this. Simona has explained the different kinds of visa. Once you can move to Germany with a language visa. So if you're on a A2 level, you can also move to Germany with a language visa to learn the language there. And there are some programs offered by the state as well, but in most cases they're for non-EU graduates. For EU graduates, the financial supported programs are very rare. We do need specialists, GPs as well. Yes, the procedure is the same. But for specialists, after the approbation, you have to apply for the recognition of your specialty as well, which is also something that we support with. Okay, I see here a question about the documents. Please note that we cannot answer individual questions about documents here. This is something that belongs to an individual conversation. So documents
feel
from
free
Hungary,
to contact us.
Feel free to contact.
Yes.
It's very individual. Kinds of specialities and which cities. I think we covered this one in the webinar. We talked about the specialities. We talked about the regions, also very individual as well. After having the B2 exam and the approbation, how long? Okay, I think how long until you have to take the C1 exam? You need, maybe you mean the C1 medical,
The
very
FSPAT,
individual, as long as you need to prepare properly. This is an interesting question. Do you need to have your diploma to register for the exam? Since some university give the diploma a few months after graduation. No, this is where the pharmac exam is a very good option. You can do this before receiving the diploma. This is possible.
So yeah, there is an option to do it before receiving a diploma.
Yes, yes. Goethe certificate, yes, we covered this one. I think we have covered how competitive is orthopedic on the market in German. It's important to be flexible about the region, then you have chances. Translation have to be legalized by the German embassy. It's a very individual question, depends on where you apply for the approbation. Pathology, there's a question about pathology from Isabella. I think we already answered that pathology
and for the urology too.
Urology as well, yes. These are the very competitive fields where you don't have any chance as a beginner to start there. Our help in the whole process, we did cover this. Hospitals do offer an accommodation on a long term as well. They do, some hospitals, but usually what hospitals offer is a short-term accommodation for the first months. I see a question from Matteo, and I think this is very individual as well, so I recommend you to visit our Q&A session or even to book an appointment or to send us a message because it's very individual. Baden-Württemberg, also very individual. It's okay with the waiting times, but it depends on what do you exactly want if you want to start there, working there. Then I see another question. EU lands don't need a visa. EU lands if you're an EU citizen. If you have a citizenship from an EU country, you don't need visa. If you just have studied in this country, you're going to need either a Schengen visa to travel to Germany or another kind of visa, or but there are some EU countries where you don't even need a Schengen visa and you can travel free if you have a permission to stay there. Okay, I know that you deal mostly with EU doctors, but I wanted to ask about the the Kenntnisprüfung. Unfortunately, we are not specialized in this one, so we cannot give you a lot of information about the Kenntnisprüfung, but your question is if you can avoid it. Yes, in some cases you can avoid it. You have to apply for the approbation, and the authorities decide if your studies are equal to other EU studies. And if they're recognized as equal, you don't need to pass the Kenntnisprüfung. Okay, one question, this is for the people that already have experience in medicine field. Am I graduating? If I'm graduating this year, what is the process? Okay, also very individual. You're graduating this year, it's the best point to contact us in order to build an individual strategy for you.
There is a similar question for the 5th year, so again, good timing to start the process. So we are working with medical students that are 5th, 6th year in university, and actually we're happy to work with them because they have enough time to react and to do the plan and to execute it.
Yes. This is interesting, I think. Are the pharmac exam and medical chamber FSP recognized equally, or does one of them give a better advantage? They're completely equally. You just need the approbation. Once you have it, nobody cares where you have gotten it. They're equal. Is it possible to do a PhD at the same time with a medical residency in Germany? Yes, it's possible in some clinics only, but I would recommend to do it from the second or third year, not from the first year, because first year you'll have enough to deal with. Ophthalmology, we
explained it.
Have explained it. With a couple of postgraduate ophthalmology electives and rotations, this is not going to be enough. You need real clinical experience in Germany. Can somebody enter directly in residency in family medicine? Yes.
You answered this question just a few seconds after it was written.
Okay. Once you get the approbation, regardless of type of FSP exam, are you allowed to practice and work everywhere in Germany? Yes, you are allowed once you have the approbation.
With the TELC, maybe, because, or are you conditioned to work in specific states where you got the approbation?
Yeah, with the TELC, we said it's limited.
Yes.
If you live in Hessen, you can get the approbation and work somewhere else, but yeah, it's more limited. The best book to learn German and study for the FSP depends on which kinds of exams you're going to take. So it's also very, very individual. And about the job interview, which are the usual questions that they make, it's different in the different clinics. Usually they don't ask many medical questions, but more about your experience and your CV, what you have done, why you have chosen the specialty that you have chosen, why you have chosen Germany. These are the most common questions.
We have a good question about the couples.
Yeah.
What are your experience with couples applying to residency in Germany? To be exact, I want pediatrics and my boyfriend orthopedics. What are our chances to get a position in the same hospital or at least the same city? If we work with you, can you help guide us to the right path?
Yes, we have a lot of couples that we have worked with, and we just placed one couple in the exact same medical
combination,
pediatrics and orthopedics for him. And she has started on 1st of May and he's starting on 1st of June in the same clinic. It's very important that you're very flexible about region because as a couple it's more difficult.
And of course there are some things that you need to be mindful of, but you can absolutely contact us and we can discuss it.
Yeah.
How much do residents get paid in average? We just answered this. Yes. Once I start my residency, if later on I get married outside Germany, how easy is to get my future wife into Germany?
It is pretty easy because she has to apply for a family member visa. And it very much depends on which country exactly you live in, but we have had this case as well. We had a candidate from Saudi Arabia and he just got his wife and his son 2 months after he has arrived and started a job here.
With this question, I think we already covered it. Which kind of hospitals from this list inmed collaborating and for which regions in Germany do you often offer jobs?
Everywhere in Germany, depends on the market at the moment and how good your CV is.
If a CV gap is used to learn German language, is it also not good? Or as a gap, like using a gap just to wait for the right job?
For learning German is okay. It's definitely okay. Interesting question. What is an Europass CV? Please Google it. I cannot explain it properly. Just Google it and you'll see.
Yes, but don't use it.
Yes, we cannot find a list of the clinics that we work with because there are a lot, and we also sign new contracts on a daily basis with new clinics. So we don't limit only to when we look for a job for you. We don't limit only to the clinics that we already work with. We contact many clinics, and this is how we sign new contracts. with new clinics, so chances unlimited if you're flexible.
This is a good observation of Anna. Also, I know that currently Germany is currently facing issues regarding the budget allocation for healthcare system, and therefore there are less job offers in the market. Can you please give us more details about the current situation and about your approach to still find jobs for all the candidates?
Yes, that's true. A lot of clinics are not hiring right now, many clinics, but we have, like I said, long-term partnerships with clinic. And first of all, this situation with the clinic reform and with the budgets is not permanent. It's temporary. So they're just waiting for certain things to happen. It's complicated to explain it to you all, but I think that most federal states are going to figure it out this year. They have to, and clinics still need doctors. So that the system is somehow changing, and that they feel some kind of a insecure in those times doesn't change the fact that doctors are needed in German clinics because the patients are still there. And in some regions, it's a bit more difficult right now to get a job, but this is why we say it's important to be flexible. And we actually successfully place all your candidates until now.
Language certificates, first attempts of language certificates are covered by our scholarship.
Yeah. Yes, so, we prepare with everything.
Yes, I have placed thumbs up here. We have answered this. Where can we get the recordings from this meeting?
We're going to send you an email in a couple of days, probably, with the recording.
Documents translation have to be legalized by German embassy? Question
Again,
mark.
we have this one.
Yeah, the 5th year, we covered it.
Yeah. Is there any academic exam that we need to pass, not language exam? No. For EU graduates, you only need to pass the German exams.
We covered the dermatology residence.
Yeah.
Can you give us some advice about books? We covered this.
I already told you this. This is individual depending on the exam that you do.
Consider non-EU citizen, graduate in Africa, recognition of the MD in Belgium, for example. Is it something that changes the procedure?
I didn't get this one because I didn't see it. Sorry.
Consider non-EU citizen
African,
graduate in Africa, and with the recognition of the MD in Belgium, for example, is it something changing in the procedure?
It could change it, but this is something that the authorities decide once you apply for the approbation. They decide if they're going to recognize this recognition as equal or if you have to pass another practical exam, the Kenntnisprüfung. Okay.
Yes, we are going to send the presentation. Can you please give us more details about the current job market situation? Yes, we did. Hello, is the FAMET acceptable in every state? Is
For
there
approbation only in some state. We already answered this one in the webinar.
But once you have the approbation, you can work all over Germany. Can I start general surgery with your support and then migrate to another more competitive specialty after?
Yes.
Okay, do you have to stay until the end? But yes, this is actually most of the times this is the successful pathway to end up in the more competitive fields, is to start with the ones that are not that competitive. I have done bachelor in my country,  and in addition I have resident permit in Italy live. Here nowadays, I can travel Germany. I'm eager starting my career with you. This is a non-EU diploma.
This is a non-EU diploma. Unfortunately, this is what matters at the moment, so that's unfortunately not suitable to the program right now.
Thank you
All
too.
right. Thank you
Yes.
too. Very interesting questions. Please note more questions. Come to our Q&A session. Send us an email, book an appointment, and we'll be happy to answer each individual question in a private conversation.
Thank you very much again for the time. It's just a lot of information, but I truly believe that for the ones that this is an important topic, this was really, really useful masterclass. So again, we'll keep in touch and good luck on your pathway to Germany.
Have a nice evening. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.